I think most people just experience themselves to be someone as an I. And in a way, in very simple terms, one could say the I is awareness. I'm aware of, I'm experiencing, I'm here and I'm aware of a separate reality. That's in very simple terms the personal setup. And I think that this also happens in most realms of spirituality. So for the person, liberation, enlightenment, fulfillment, the natural reality, whatever, is always something that one needs to be aware of, or that one needs to become aware of. And I think as long as there is the sense of I am, that's the only possibility to see it like that, or to hope that it has something to do with me becoming aware of something.
Welcome to Letting Go and the Greatest Secret, where we explore the end of your suffering and the beginning of lasting happiness. I'm Hale Dwoskin, and today I'll be speaking with Andreas Müller. Andreas was born in 1979 in Ludwigsburg in southern Germany. After years of seeking in spirituality, he met Tony Parsons in 2009. Since 2011, Andreas has been holding talks and intensives throughout the world. Can you tell me a little bit about the Andreas experience before there was the end of the person?
Well, I grew up in Germany in a suburb of Stuttgart, which is in southwest Germany. Some people may know it from Mercedes-Benz and Porsche and stuff. And I think I grew up kind of normal, ordinary. And when I came into my teens, so to speak, I got interested in all kinds of substances, having a lot of parties, but somehow it was always connected for me with some kind of seeking, and I got interested in what is happiness itself, so to speak. So at some point this phase ended and I became a spiritual seeker. So spirituality replaced basically this thing with the substances, though for me it was already spiritual, kind of.
Yes.
So that's basically what I did before, how to say it, before I died, let's say, or
Yes.
before the I died. I had mainly been seeking in spirituality. But this kind of already faded out 2 years before, kind of. But that's what I mainly did.
Yes. Didn't you have some sort of glimpse or taste even before you met Tony?
Yes, absolutely. But the funny thing is without knowing it. So I had a glimpse at the beginning of the spiritual phase. I think it was my early 20s, but I understood that many, many years later. So yes, actually, I think I had 2 or 3 glimpses before I met Tony. And the first one I understood years later, and the second one was quite obvious. Though at that time I didn't have the story that it was a glimpse, so to speak. But
Yes. The story probably said, "Oh, this was a great experience," or something like that, wasn't it?
yeah, not really. It was obvious that it was something else because it was really obvious for the first time that there isn't anyone.
Yes, yes.
So
Yes. So we'll ask specific questions in a minute, but this is going to be seen by at least around 10,000 people, but it could be a lot more. So just assume we have a large audience, and can you speak to them from, see what comes out? I know you don't, there's nothing pre-planned, but see what comes out in just sharing what you might say in the beginning of one of your Zoom meetings.
yes. Well, I mean, what this points to, or what I'm saying, so to speak, is that everything is already whole and complete. It's the natural reality, means it just naturally is that way, that what happens, what seemingly happens, is whole and complete. And what this means is that there is no hidden reality. There is no deeper reality or some mysterious absolute reality somewhere hidden behind what happens. There is no separate source that's somehow underneath what happens, stuff like that. That's what's meant when I say this is whole and complete. And the other thing that I'm saying that this message points to is that this experience to be a separate person, to be an I, an individual, this felt sense to be present, to be now here, that this is not real. It's just not substantial. And that's basically what I report about. Let's put it like this.
Yes. No, I know there's nothing about your message that's in any way prescriptive. It's all just descriptive.
And even that only apparently.
Right. well,
Yes.
well, we're using words, so
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but I just have to end
no.
sometimes.
Oh, and please put in as many apparentlys as you'd like.
I can't control myself.
Why would you want to?
Yeah.
So, why? This is just occurring right now. This question, but why is there this confusion? And again, it's a why question, so it's probably kind of I already perceive it as an odd question, but it's coming up, so I'm going to ask anyway. Why is there such a confusion where some people talk about that everything and nothing, that all is, as though it's something that you need to become aware of, and that's the goal? Is that just because it's just an extension of the story of me? How would you explain that or talk about that?
Well, in the end, yeah, I would see it like that. Exactly. I mean, I think most people just experience themselves to be someone, as an I. And in a way, in very simple terms, one could say the I is awareness. I'm aware of, I'm experiencing, I'm here, and I'm aware of a separate reality. That's, in very simple terms, the personal setup. And I think that this also happens in most realms of spirituality. So for the person, liberation, enlightenment, fulfillment, the natural reality, whatever, is always something that one needs to be aware of, or that one needs to become aware of. And I think as long as there is the sense of I am, that's the only possibility to see it like that, or to hope that it has something to do with me becoming aware of something.
Yeah, it's I guess the me is made up of this wanting to become aware of something, isn't it? Isn't it like that is its essence?
Yes, because its essence is awareness, but it thinks the answer to its seeking may be more awareness.
Right. Better awareness.
Exactly, to become which in the end would mean to become a better me.
Right.
Yeah.
So my original teacher, Lester Levinson, used to say, first it is seen that all is a dream, and then it is seen that it's a dream that never really was. Can you see what comes out in response to that?
Well, yes. Well, we see.
Yes.
Well, well, yeah. In the end, one could say so. Nothing is real. There's nothing really happening. It turns out, I wouldn't say that everything is a dream. I would say that the experience that things are real, that's the dream. And when that drops, there's nothing real anymore. Yeah. And the second statement I forgot actually.
Though it was a long time ago.
A dream that I'm sorry, I'm not a dream that never happened.
Right,
That's what
right.
we said. It's a dream that never happened.
Yes.
Exactly. That's the collapse of it all. That what happens isn't real. It goes together. Actually, yeah. This
What?
message, which I would be saying, combines both.
Yes, I'm not saying it has to. I'm just using that quote as a jumping off point. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not necess. I don't think it necessarily occurs in stages, because there are no stages to this,
Yeah.
are there?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that which is natural, that which is already whole, can be described using many inadequate words, but one of them is uh, one of them is unconditional love. How would you respond to that?
Well, yes, this would be one way of describing it, or well, unconditional love, unconditional freedom, or one could say what apparently happens, is unconditionally itself. So it's unconditionally free, and as there is nothing against it, that there is nothing observing it and saying yes or no to it, it's unconditionally loved. It's just naturally whole and complete. But that's the thing. What seemingly happens is naturally whole and complete. It's not a deeper reality that's separate from what happens. Unconditional love is not separate from us having this conversation. Us having this conversation is unconditionally whole and complete by simply being itself. That's
Yeah.
unconditionally, that would be unconditional love or freedom.
Yes. Yeah. Those two words are interchangeable. And isn't it also everyone listening or watching this message is the same?
Oh, yes,
Unconditional
absolutely.
freedom.
Totally. Absolutely. That's why it's impossible to attain or achieve it, because no one and nothing is separate from it.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
It just makes me laugh, because we pretend that there is all these layers and levels, and that there actually is someone who's in charge.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I think out of this experience to be someone comes this ideas of many layers and many obstacles and many things to be done or to get rid of or to become aware of. But actually, it's just this only dream I am, and that's not real. So
Yes.
there are no obstacles, there are no layers. There's just what happens, and it's whole, and it's
Yes.
fine.
Right. And it doesn't even need to, that doesn't even need to end. The sense of I am, isn't that too just the same thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mean, the thing is, you can't. Yes, but it's whole and complete as what it is, namely the sense of separation and the seeking for wholeness. But of course, this is as whole and complete as everything else. Totally, absolutely.
Sometimes that can be very confounding to someone who thinks there's more to it and they need to get something.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's the hope and the frustration of the person, of course. The hope there is something to get, there is something else to get, and the frustration to never actually get it.
Right.
I mean, the thing. One more sentence. What this message is saying is that even in this apparent illusion to be separate, there is no real separate individual in it. So there never is anyone. There never is a separate something.
Yeah, it's just an appearance. And back to the thing we were talking about earlier, that never really was. It just appeared that way.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Which is a surprise. It's an utter surprise. Same with the wholeness or the unconditional love. It's totally unexpected, seen from the person, that exactly what happens is whole and complete already. It's not logical. It can't be expected. How this actually is not expected. But at the end, it turns out to be utterly ordinary.
Yes, yes. And in this ordinariness that is still lived even after there is no sense of a personal center or I am experiencing or I am doing it, how is life lived?
Well, life is lived by itself, so to
Right.
speak.
Yes.
And I would also say quite ordinary, because the body is functioning kind of. Apparently, it sounds a bit technical, but apparently the body just does what it does. It thinks, it feels, it walks around, it acts, it reacts, all by itself, so to speak, without anyone doing it or observing it.
That's just so simple.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Which again is the surprise, actually.
Yes, yes. Because I know through the years when this body mind was seeking, there was each new thing. I was fortunate to stay with one particular thing for a long period of time. So there wasn't as much confusion. There was just the core confusion that comes from that one thing. But each but each thing comes with its own. If you're going towards a goal of something different than what is as the end, there's a distortion, there's a confusion in that, isn't there?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, because this whole reality is dreamt, meaning that it's not real. So it's constantly operating in a reality that doesn't exist. And that's kind of odd. That just doesn't feel right. Something just feels wrong with it. The whole bundle. I am goals, trying to do it, trying to force some things or to manipulate what is. The whole thing feels kind of weird. Yeah,
It does.
without actually being conscious of what the weirdness comes from. It's very unconscious. It's just accompanied by this sense of me. Not quite right, but the person can't see at all where this is coming from. It just feels that way.
Yes, yes. And isn't there an insecurity built into that too?
Oh, totally, of course, because there is the constant possibility to fail. I mean, within the person's reality, there's always either I do it right or I do it wrong. Either I get it or I may not get it. Kind of almost every moment, but also in terms of the big goal. Of course, there's insecurity and fear is built into that. Because the idea is if I'm not doing it right, I I fail becoming fulfilled. I fail my main mission to become a happy and fulfilled me.
And since there only is what is, you can't succeed or fail at that, can you?
Well, that's the thing. This whole paradigm of failing or succeeding is completely dreamt. Yeah, totally, of course. Of course. So it's a dreamt fear that the person lives in. It's a dreamt burden. This
Yes.
experience of I have to do it. I'm responsible for my fulfillment is a deeply felt burden on the one hand, but it's completely illusory, of course. There
Yes.
is no burden. There is nothing to reach in the first place.
It already is.
Yes, but for no one.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big qualifier.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, because a person hears it already is. And first off, it doesn't like it. So this can't be it because I don't like it. And secondarily, it's assuming that it already is for me.
And then again, noticing that it's failing.
Yes.
Because his experience is, he says this is it, but I can't get it. So
Right.
the me will beat up itself again.
Yes. It's very good at that.
Exactly. Oh, man.
I just got this image that the me is kind of like sitting on a horse facing backwards, whipping itself, thinking that it's driving the horse. It's not holding the reins. It's facing backwards and it's whipping itself, thinking that's somehow going to control life.
Exactly. Thinking that it has anything to do with what the horse does.
Right.
No connection at all.
Right. So another big area of confusion that people sometimes fall into is believing in this thing of that there's either free will or predetermination. And it seems kind of like a silly question after everything we've just said, but I want to just throw it out to see how that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with all those concepts or philosophical questions almost, is that they somehow reflect the person's reality. And both concepts actually are coming from the person's experience, namely to experience oneself as a doer sometimes, but also mostly experiencing oneself as the experiencer. So some things I have, I can do, I can create, I can change, and some things they just happen to me. And I would say those both concepts just come from this experience, that there's free will and choice, that you are the creator, that you can do things, and the same thing with the predetermination, where everything is not in one's hands. So that's more like the experiencer position, so to speak. Both is the person knows both.
Yes. And the person, it's still riding the horse backwards.
Oh, totally. Of course. Of course. I mean, that's why that's why this discussion about it, is there free will or not, goes on since hundreds or thousands of years, and there never is an answer. In the end, it remains a thing of belief.
Yes, totally.
Neither nor.
Right, neither nor, exactly. That's a good response to almost anything.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Let's see.
Of course, the person moves between poles, so to speak. So
depending on
neither nor gets it quite well.
Yeah. So again, I keep asking the same question in different words just because I want to just see what comes out. But another misconception is that there's there's something the person can do to discover there is no person.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, in the end, that is the dream, that there is a person that is doing things and that is able to do things, of course. So I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of teachings and a lot of spirituality and religions are based on this idea that there is an I in the first place which can discover or become aware of whatever. And of course, to understand that there is no me might be another goal for the person.
Yes.
I mean, in a way, the person can intellectually understand that itself may be the problem
Yes.
for all its seeking, so to speak, but it's still based on the dream that there is someone in the first place. So it sounds like a good idea in the beginning.
Right.
Doesn't sound too bad. It makes sense.
Yes.
But that's the problem. It makes sense for the
Yes.
person. And again, it is the personal reality.
Yes. So I mean, it's not something the person can know, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. What's sitting in front of a screen and having this conversation actually is unknowable. And in the end, that's the only thing that we talk about. There's what apparently happens, and it is already inexperienced. There is no experience, so which experience is totality. There is no experience of how you and me and your screen and my screen and your room and my room, how this actually is in its totality is inexperienced. Constantly, all the time. It just is like that. And yes, therefore, it's unknowable. Unknowable sounds a bit superficial sometimes because
Yes.
it actually means inexperienced. It doesn't mean that it's intellectually it can't be known. No, it's already inexperienced. Therefore, it's unknowable.
And that's an important distinction, because when you hear it's unknowable, you just think the reflex is, I just haven't worked hard enough at knowing it. The I hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It just leaves the assumption that at least there is something that could theoretically be known. Even if I don't manage, it is there. Yeah. Or it leaves you with this philosophy. I know that I don't know, stuff like that.
Right.
Still someone knowing something.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing how opposite of what is the 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 norm or the regular perception of me is it's just opposite. It's
Yeah, kind of. It's just I am, time and space, real, everything is real, everything has meaning, there is a goal. And of course, this sense of I'm not fulfilled, something
yes.
is missing, and I'm on a very meaningful and important path towards my fulfillment, of course. As if it's constantly overlooking the simplicity and the wholeness of what apparently happens. It's a miracle, actually. That's the miracle, actually. But of course, not really, because there is no one doing that.
Yes.
There's also no one responsible for that. So, what to do? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a rhetorical question.
I know. So, this may be a helpful question to ask, or it may not. What are some of the common questions that are asked when in the meetings?
Well, what are well, to be honest, in the end, it's one question in many forms, and the question is, how do I become one? How can I be a happy me? How can I become fulfilled? And this can take on a lot of forms, like how do I lose the me? Did you do any practice? How is it possible that nothing is real? What do you mean with apparently? Well, stuff like that. Andreas, you say there is no time. What does that mean? But in the end, it's always one question.
Yes.
Andreas, I'm here. I'm now here. What can I do? What did you do? Am I good? Whatever. But it's actually this one question. How can I find my way back to wholeness?
And so, what is the universal answer?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what they expect.
Right, I know.
They expect from me. The thing is, there is no answer.
Right.
There is no answer, and that there is no answer is also not an answer. So that's the seeker's dilemma. That its seeking remains unanswered. There is no answer to how can I become one. The answer would be there is no one separate.
Right.
But you can't tell this to anyone. That's the thing. It's not about the person hearing it and getting it and understanding it. So there is no answer.
Right. So, words aside, isn't this more something that is energetic as opposed to about the words?
Yeah, one could say so. Yeah. Yes. Well, at least it's not about the concepts or beliefs. This whole message isn't a belief system and stuff like that, or philosophy or something. It points quite directly out that this sense of presence isn't real. And as a description, one could say it's rather an energy. To feel oneself as me is more like just a sense of presence. It feels like that. And then there are thoughts and emotions around that. That's why one could say it's rather energetic. Yeah, it's not on an intellectual level, if you want so, but it's also not on an emotional level. I mean, Neville's story anyway, but
Right. Again, we're still using language.
yes.
Yes.
So it
Well,
can become quite intense for some apparent people, this message, because it really threatens this sense of I'm alive. I'm
yes.
here. I have an autonomous existence. I'm alive. That's
Yes.
real in a real world and stuff like that. And one could
Yes.
say
Yes.
energetically that gets challenged.
Yes. What a glorious challenge.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not doing it on purpose,
No, no,
but
no. I get it.
yeah. Just yeah. But it can be quite challenging for some.
Yes. No, definitely.
For me.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that comes up as something that can be added to what's already been said?
Oh, well, that's usually a difficult one. So you're right, we covered quite a bit already. There's absolutely nothing to attain. What we talk about, the natural reality, is so simple because it is what happens. It is what already apparently happens. There's absolutely nothing special about the natural reality. There is absolutely nothing special to attain or to think or to feel or to be aware of. And as I said, seen from the person, it's an utter surprise. What we talk about here, on the one hand, is an utter surprise. On the other hand, it's ordinary. It's ordinary as it is sitting in front of a screen. It's this. And the surprise is that this being whole and complete is ordinary too. It's not something that needs to be discovered in a long path, as I said, with obstacles and stuff like that. No, it's ordinary. Sitting in front of a screen and talking is ordinary, and this being whole and complete is ordinary too.
Yeah, it's just natural.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe in the apparent contrast, one could say, to the me's attempts to create wholeness, to create states of peace, to create experiences which feel good. And in the apparent contrast to that, that's somehow artificial. Wholeness isn't made or isn't done. It's not a certain way to be or to feel or to think or to experience. No, the surprise is that what happens exactly as it is whole and complete already. It doesn't need to be answered by a certain experience. It doesn't need to be answered by an insight or by knowledge or concepts or whatever. It just doesn't need that.
Yes.
Wow, there was something coming out.
Well, yeah. I guess that was a good summary.
Yeah, cool.
So, is there, if someone wants to get in touch with this message as it appears through Andreas Müller, what's the best way to reach out and explore it?
Well, I think I have all the contact details on my website, and the website is thetimelesswonder.com. And actually, I'm quite easy to reach. So there is email or on social media, and it's just possible to write me. And yeah. So there's all the information.
Good. And we'll make sure to put that in the show notes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that'll be great.
Great. So thank you so much. This was really fun. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I thank you for being here, and I thank everyone for listening. It's just a joy to just be. I don't know what to say about that.
So I almost want to add an apparently, but
yes, go ahead. Add the. Oh, we didn't do enough of them. So go ahead.
Oh yes. I'm fine. Yes. Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. I enjoyed it very much too.
Me too. Great.
Great fun.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Andreas Müller. You can learn more about Andreas at thetimelesswonder.com. That's thetimelesswonder.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe so you'll have immediate access to future episodes. Please give us a 5-star rating and share it with the people you care about. If you'd like to learn more about my work, my mentor, Lester Levenson's work, and the Sedona Method, please visit www.sedona.com. As you explore our site, you'll learn the key to lasting happiness, success, peace, and emotional well-being. We have books, courses, events, and plenty of free material to explore. Again, go to sedona.com. That's SEDONA.com. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Letting Go and the Greatest Secret.